Hi everybody, this is my continuing series on the Middle East and the prophecy of Israel coming to pass. I found this interesting article off a website called Ken Rego Presents Bible Study Sources, and this article in particular really got my attention because, the title of this is Will the United Nations and the Vatican Rule Jerusalem? Yes. And it continues on saying that the beast and the false prophet has an appointment with destiny. And here is the biblical perspective. Okay, Tony Blair and Bill Clinton in their days strong-armed Israel into accepting the idea of two-state solutions to the Middle East crisis, Israel and Palestine. Clinton brought Yasser Arafat and Yitzhak Rabin to the White House to celebrate a historic milestone in diplomacy. Never forget, however, that both Israel and Palestine are pawns in the hands of the New World Order power brokers who are concretely determined to redefine the Middle East in the terms that were both appeased and quietened key players in the international community, not the least of which is New York, Brussels, and Rome. Neither Israel nor the Palestinian Authority have the luxury of making sovereign determinations of their own destinies. Neither can escape the heavy hand of the New World Order. Ultimately, both governments will be forced to cooperate with the will of international communities, especially the United Nations. So people, we've got to keep our eyes open in regards to the United Nations and the Vatican. So it tells us right here that they are controlling everything, what is going on between Israel and Palestine, and what's in the Middle East and what is going on. Because I also have another article to share with you also in regards to what had happened during the Egyptian riots and other riots that broke out in the other countries like Libya, and it's all being planned, and it's all being set up for the Gog and Magog war. So we'll get into that shortly. Okay, when a Middle East peace treaty is ever signed, and it will be signed, a 7-year agreement called the Confirmation of the Covenant in Daniel 9:27, the terms will most certainly be defined not by Israel or Palestine, but by Big Brother. When the dust settles, Israel will not have lost the struggle to Palestinian Authority, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, or Syria. They will have lost to the European Union, including Rome's heavy hand, and the United Nations. I know there's always something I never do like about the United Nations, and why I didn't like them being on the United States soil. They've always been an evil. It's like a sore that doesn't heal in the United States. I don't know. It's and I always wondered why they would have a United Nations here in the United States. I know I'll get in trouble for saying that, but yeah. But anyway, going on with the article, if you think that the major media outlets will tell you the real truth about what is going on behind the scenes in the Middle East, you must have been born yesterday. You and I are never going to get the real scoop about such things as the Oslo Accords, the Camp David Accords, quartet negotiations, and etc. Actually, you have to do your own research, and it will take a very long time of actually knowing and understanding what had happened, what had gone on with these negotiations. These deal makers never tipped their hands, and the mainstream media is thoroughly controlled by global handlers with covert plans. Try Bilderberg, maybe, probably, but they're all in on it. The Vatican and everyone. But anyway, I'll get into this shortly. Like I said, this is a series, so it's going to take a while. Fortunately, however, the empirical evidence gives us valuable clues. Excuse me. There facts on the ground that has a way of unveiling what has really happened behind the curtains. We can follow the insect trails and watch who is doing what, when, and where. There is somebody else that wants a big piece of that pie, the Vatican. Okay, and this is why I want to say that the reason why the Vatican has their eyes on Jerusalem and why they want Jerusalem and what is going on right now, what you see in the news, it is all being set up for their God, and that God is the Antichrist, because he's going to set his office there up in Jerusalem in the temple. But we'll get into this a little bit later. Like I say, it's going to take some time to really wade through this. But anyway, follow the global trails, and they all pass through Rome, or what they say, follow the money trails. Can anyone tell me why George Bush, Tony Blair, Vladimir Putin, Ahmadinejad, I always have a problem with his name, Ahmed Abbas, and a bride's list of other guests are always tipsing off to the Vatican? What did George Bush lose in Rome? Does it ever strike you strange that kings and presidents rarely get a visit from the Pope, but they all seem to show up at his doorstep, and all we ever get is photo ops and a 150-word press release? Never do we get any printed text of conversations between these guys. What does the Holy See see? The Pope sees Jerusalem. John Paul II virtually apologized for the Vatican's role in the Holocaust. Why on earth politics? The Vatican is an enormous property owner in Israel, and that's true. They do. They own for about pretty much of it, I guess. Rome is looking out for its own selfish interests, always has and always will. And it's been happening for over 1,000 years. Ever since the Crusades, probably even further back, they've always had their interests in Jerusalem. In 1993, Israel and the Vatican established full diplomatic relations with the help of Shimon Peres and others. The Vatican insists that the Jerusalem should have special security restrictions different from the rest of Israel, and the Jewish rabbis Lou and Bakshi Doran agreed. But more than that, the Vatican ultimately wants to control the old city of Jerusalem. Secret dealings moving in the direction has virtuously reported by Italy's La Stampa, Israel's Haaretz, and Arutz Shiva, excuse me, for butchering those names. They're news organizations, so you all know who they are. Sounds like they're selling Jerusalem out. Former Deputy Jerusalem Mayor Shmuel Meir publicly reports that the Vatican wanted extra territorial status. You can call it succession, or you can call it hegemony, or you can call it Catholic occupation, or you can call it losing Jerusalem to the Great Whore. And so I take the latter, because this is what's coming to pass in Bible prophecy. Any one of these terms can apply. The very news leak of it was so volatile that it was enough to get Mayor Amir accidentally killed, really. Sure, it's not accident. No. And okay, no matter what you call it, we are staring in the face of the beast and the false prophet taking over Jerusalem, and that is why Jesus Christ is going to return. He will have enough of it, and I don't blame him. I would say 3 cheers for Jesus. In 1994, a cablegram that sent from Rome's embassy to the Jerusalem Foreign Ministry and was published on the front page of the Haaretz and the broadcast of a Arutz Shiva, revealing a secret agreement that signed in December of 1993 between the Holy See and Israel to hand over the Old City to the Vatican. For what it's worth, the Old City of Jerusalem is the entire ancient city as it existed prior to 1860. That means Rome will own the entire biblical city of Jerusalem. And what is the biblical significance of this information? Jerusalem was to be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles were fulfilled. And that's biblical. That's in the Bible. That ancient biblical prophecy referred to the period that began in 70 AD when Roman General Titus destroyed Jerusalem and the Jews went into dispersion, or the diaspora, when it's diaspora. When Rome overthrew Jerusalem at that time, the time of the Gentiles began. At the end of the 1967 war, Israel regained control of Jerusalem for the first time since ancient days. Okay, and there's a link to this article so you can go and read that. Officially, however, that the United Nations refused to recognize or allow Israeli sovereignty or jurisdiction over Jerusalem. The United Nations Security Council Resolution 242 orders Israel to withdraw to the pre-1967 borders, which effectively reserves Jerusalem as an international city, and that means that the United Nations claims jurisdiction. And shall we say ownership over it? Just think about it. The UN owns no other city in this way, yet world leaders are satisfied to force the issue. Jerusalem is a burdensome stone to the world, and they believe that the solution is, and I'm going to have to finish this in part 2. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye. God bless y'all. Jesus loves you. Bye.